Alright, y'all, welcome to Matryoshka doll painting. You should be able to download the tracer from the group's guides. This painting is inspired by St. Basil Cathedral colors and patterns. Let's go over the paints real quick. Over here, I'm using yellow ochre, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, emerald green, orange, red, lemon yellow, and white in this painting. So if you hear some weird noises or like background noises from my kids, it's because this is a voiceover. I haven't done this very much yet. This is like my one of the first experiences with that. So if you hear like weird noises in the background or all of that, so please forgive me. Just keep going and keep watching the video. I did a hyperlapse of it because there's lots of detail to it, and just watch it and maybe do it step by step, like watch the first step and then pause the video and complete it, and then watch the next step and pause the video and complete it. So right now I'm painting the top and the bottom with phthalo blue just to create the background. Rinsing off the brush, I'm using a filbert here, grabbing a little bit of lemon yellow, mixing with yellow ochre, and painting the first row of this decorative background. So you are pretty much heading for, like, you want like mustardy golden color for this row, so that it would just look like St. Basil Cathedral. You can always go on Pinterest or Google and look up pictures of the cathedral to maybe help you see the colors better, because the cameras and the screens don't always show the exact color that we need. So my next step is emerald green mixed with yellow ochre. It creates this kind of grassy green here. Adding a little bit of cerulean blue and yellow, lemon yellow, to mimic the green from the cathedral, the one, if you can see my mouse, you should be able to see my mouse, like over here in the corner. I don't know if you can see this, like it's this green color over there in the corner. So pretty much painting the whole thing again, the background, the whole row. So next I'm just grabbing some of this brilliant red or orange red. I think it was orange red, but it looks like brilliant red on my camera. This is one of those, I refer to this painting in one of my pre-recorded videos. This is the one that I did ahead of time, and I used I edited it, and then I'm doing voiceovers. You can hear it, and yeah, this is one that I'm referring to as not so easy to do, honestly. Sorry, I'm sharing this with you. So cerulean blue, emerald green, a little bit of ultramarine blue goes on to the bottom row, working around the Matryoshka doll carefully. So yes, this painting takes a lot of detail, or has a lot of detail. So again, take your time and pause the video whenever you need to, so that you can so that you can paint it without, you know, stressing. Don't stress over it. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Rinsing the brush. So I'm rinsing the brush between all the colors here because there's no mixing happening. It's all like, you can't use a messy brush for these things. You're gonna have to clean the brush. Okay, so I'm letting it dry a little bit. So we're gonna use some of that lemon yellow for the inside of the sunflowers, using a small flat brush. I think it could be a small filbert, I'm not sure, but I think it's just a small flat brush. I'm adding a little bit of that red color to the lemon yellow to create the centers for, I call them forget-me-nots. They probably are not forget-me-nots, but that's what I call them. Mixing a little bit of white and red together to create the center for the roses. Okay. Excuse me. Looks like I was thinking there for a while. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'm making more of the red and white mixture, and I think what it looks like to me is that I added a little bit more red to it, just to create brighter color. And so now I'm painting all the rose petals. And so this is these are the parts that take the longest. Okay, so I added a little bit of yellow into that pink that we had to just create a different tone for the rose, and now I'm gonna use the same tone for the rose on the bottom. And it looks like I switched to a round brush here. It looks like a round number 2. So just, yeah, use whatever brushes you want and whatever brushes work for you. Okay. Back to the small flat brush, a little bit of ultramarine blue, or a lot. Ultramarine blue goes onto those forget-me-nots petals. Just straight ultramarine blue. So that's the first flower. Just paint those petals. And in between, like wherever they are sticking out. And then I'm painting the flower on the bottom, and then we're gonna make a variation of color for the flowers that are sitting on the top for the other two that are the same kind, because otherwise they will all kind of bleed together. So adding a little bit of cerulean blue to ultramarine blue to just create a different shade, and it does look different. Just paint the other one, the other flower. So that's the third blue flower that we have here. Being super careful around the other petals, because we're not gonna have We don't want to mess up the other paint, other flowers with other colors. We just want to stay within the lines. Okay, so added a little bit of white to the mix that I already had here to paint this other one. So the last blue flower is being painted. Here we go. Okay, this is a round brush that looks like number 6. So I see a lot of red going into those petals. So the red goes into this sunflower. Just turning the work around. Don't I paint on the table. I don't paint on the easel most of the times because there's lots of tiny things that require more control than I can do on the easel. So I just turn it around and just work with it as I need to. Okay, and so the other one, the second sunflower, I call them sunflowers, I don't know if they are sunflowers, they're just stylized flowers. Okay, grabbing some more of that emerald green. And just using it straight to paint the leaves, and just using the round brush to create the strokes to paint inside of the leaves. So you can start at the tip, right, and then you kind of smoosh the brush down and then cover the parts that need to be covered. And then we can move on to the next side. Okay, so we're gonna add a little bit of design element to the top part here, and we're using a number 2 round brush, just adding a geometrical pattern to the top row, the mustardy golden color, just adding a little bit of a pattern to it to mimic St. Basil Cathedral. Again, don't overthink this. Just just add the pattern. Just make sure to use curvy lines, not straight lines, and you should be fine. So we're gonna add some white. I'm adding a little bit of water to my white so that that's doable and workable. Just adding like a chevron zigzag pattern. Freehand, doesn't need to be anything hard. Yes, don't forget to kind of finish both edges. And then we're gonna paint. I think I switched to a small flat brush to do this, but you kind of you can leave that chevron as it was, or you can paint it the way I'm doing it, just to make a thicker line so that it would show better. Adding a little bit more white to it, because of course it's not gonna show well right away painted over red, so it's gonna take a couple of coats. If you feel like you need to add more coats, I suggest to let it dry and then come back with more white. Okay, so our next element is going to be adding red polka dots to the green, and I'm doing this by using a school pencil, and the eraser is on the other end, so I'm using the eraser end to create random polka dots. Then I'm grabbing some paint on my brush and I'm finishing those polka dots with some paint so that they are full with color and we can see them very good. Okay, and then the last one is this bluish kind of on the bottom. So I'm grabbing some of that orange that we used for the rose and putting a little bit more white to it, more red to it, and then putting it all into that red. So I'm just kind of making an orange, a nice bright orange color, and I'm adding those like squiggly shapes. They're like letter S. I just start on the bottom and they're like letter S that is more stretched up, like a very stretched out letter S. Okay, so adding a little bit more, or a lot more actually in this case, a lot more white to that orange color. So what you want to make is a color that would be a skin tone for your Matryoshka doll. So we're painting the base for her face, and yeah, just kind of make it rounded on the bottom, like where the chin is. Make it rounded the best you can. It doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, grab a little bit more brighter paint, and these are the cheeks. It looks a little bit like a pig snout when it just started, but then you kind of need to work it in like this and make sure it's blended the best way. Just blend it in. So they're not cheeks, they're like, this is where the eyes are gonna go. So I just grabbed a little bit of black paint here. I like to thin it out a little bit with water to almost melted ice cream consistency, and I just painted the eyebrows and eyes. Oh no, those are not eyebrows, sorry, those are eyelids. Eyelashes. And these are eyebrows, there you go. and a button nose, and then gonna grab some red, add it to that pinkish orange kind of color, and create the lips. Made a little mess there, but nothing you cannot clean up with a little bit of paint if you need to. I see yellow ochre happening with green and a little bit of orange and teal. I think I'm trying to make something brownish, some brownish color. Huh. Okay, it's been a while. I don't remember what it is that I'm doing, so give me just a minute, okay? I think I'm making brown. Yes, it's brown. Ah, so brown is the mix, usually a mix of the green and orange. If you mix green and orange together, it'll give you brown. So I'm using brown to paint her hair, and I'm not using black because black is too flat for that. I went off the frame here. So there you go. There's your hair. So you can use, if you have brown already, you can use regular brown. You don't have to mix it, or you can mix it, and it really is fun. So now I'm using black to fill in the white spaces in between the leaves and the flowers and the petals. So I think I switched to number 0 round brush, and I am just going around and filling this in. Tedious, yes, I know. So just kind of watch first, maybe watch what you need to do, and then just take your time. Pause the video and take your time. Don't feel like you need to do this in one sitting right away. This painting is a little bit more complex than what we usually paint in the group, but I couldn't help it. I really wanted to paint a Matryoshka doll. I had to paint a Matryoshka. So I hope you're enjoying yourself. These pre-recorded videos are a little bit difficult for me because I am very used to interacting with you guys as we paint and like asking you questions and hearing how you're doing. So if you want to, just pop into the comments and tell me how you're doing and how this worked for you. I would love to hear from you. And of course we will have a dedicated album to show off your Matryoshkas once you've got them painted. So please note how I outline every leaf with black paint before filling everything else in. So black paint, yeah. So everything that was white on Matryoshka, at this point it's all going black. And we didn't start with the black background because it is very hard to paint colors like this on top of black. And it looks like I made a mess with my other sunflower there, but I'm sure I'll fix it. It's all fixable. So yeah, if something like that happened, see, I'm trying to use an eraser, it didn't work very well. So if something like this happens to you, try and clean it up with a damp paper towel and then paint over it. That's usually the best way to go about it. Okay, almost done there with the black paint in the outline. All right. Oh, I missed a spot over there by the blue flower. I know I'll get it. It's just... sometimes you can't see things right away. So I'm outlining the with just black paint the background, those decorative pieces that goes around the Matryoshka doll. Also outline the doll, outlining all of those black lines that were on the tracer. Just adding black to the black already. So the original black on there, the background, I just painted with, I just colored it with a waterproof marker, so that I could keep going and I could see my lines. So yes, I'm pretty much painting black over black here, but that's okay. It just shows like that. More paint, more black. Adding a little bit of shading to the green grid. And then a little bit black shading to those red polka dots. Not every one of them is gonna have them, and you're just gonna add them here and there. Okay, and then we're gonna go and add top and bottom to our chevron. I think that's what it's called, the zigzags. Just the top and the bottom, just outline. There we go. And then going above and underneath those orange lines that are on that blue line of background patterns. I guess that's what it's called. There, decided to outline the petals better because they were not standing out at all. So outline those petals, and the center kind of makes it stand out better, don't you think? Okay, a little bit more of that. And I'm gonna do the... So added the swirls to the rose centers with black paint, outlining all the blue petals and the circles and the centers. Finally noticed that white spot. There we go. And then here goes the sunflower. go. Adding a little bit of black streaks to the hair, just to add a little bit of volume to it. A tiny bit of white on the eyes. Some white. Adding water to it to make it workable. Just a little bit of white highlights to put on top of the green lines. So notice how the shading goes under the green lines, right? And the highlight goes on top, and then added a little bit of that to also to the red dots, so some to hair, some white goes into the centers of our flowers, highlighting the petals, highlighting the center, what are they called? They're like the spines, no, the center for the leaves. To just, there you go. Couple of highlights for the roses, a little highlight on her lip, a little bit more white added to that chevron because I thought it was needed. And I think that's done. So yes, please make sure to share your Matryoshka painting in the group, in the album that I will put up for just the Matryoshka doll painting. And I will see you soon, and I will talk to you soon. Yes, there's lots of signs over here that you can see that they're mine. I'm still figuring out how to do all of this fancy stuff with voiceover. Okay, thank you for watching, thank you for painting with me, and I will see you around.